Welcome to Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, who have been proudly serving the families of New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals. And now, Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. What is your favorite type of music? Perhaps is it pop music, jazz, classical, reggae, rap? I don't know if I call that music, but most people probably call it music. How about a different era, like the 70s and disco? I happen to be stuck in the 70s. I love that disco music. Or maybe it is country western or something called western music. Well, on the show today, is western music cowboy music? Is it jazz, blues, European music, Irish, maybe all into one? On the show today, we're going to discuss what is western music. And if you love it, there is a group that you can join and enjoy that music all the time. It's called the International Western Association. And we're going to discuss that group and how you can get involved and enjoy that western music. We'll be back right after this. Well, my guests and my production crew, they're all scolding me because I'm saying, what's Western music? Everybody seems to know what it is. Well, we're going to give you a definition of it, and we're going to give you a treat today, and we're going to hear some Western songs right here on Issues and Answers. I'm so happy that I have Joe Brown with me. He is the founder of the chapter here in New Mexico of the International Western Music Association. Thank you so much, Joe Brown, for being a part of this program and for all you're doing for KCHF TV.
Well, happy to be part of this. We love Western music, but a lot of us in Western music love a lot of different kinds. And in the intro, you mentioned blues and jazz and there's aspects of that in Western music, and we love it all. So
and you're going to be Joe
great.
Brown. You're going to be giving me the definition, but Jim Jones is going to be performing some songs for us. He is an award-winning singer and songwriter. Thanks to you for coming to our show, and I'm thanking Joe because you brought Jim along. So thanks for this.
My pleasure.
So I'll ask you both definitions. How do you characterize Western music, since you are a Western music singer and songwriter?
Well, the simplest definition is music about the West. I mean, it's really as simple as that. It's music. It's the style is closest probably to folk music because it's mostly acoustic, and the themes are about the West. And cowboys obviously are the bulk of it, but there's songs about mountains and rivers and streams and buffalo and just army mules and on and on.
How is it different, would you say, Jim, than country music?
Well, even that you have to break down to a modern country, old time country, whatever. Typically, country themes they're more set in. I think in the rural South is where it kind of started for sure. The themes. That was the thing about you in the country song you lose your wife in your truck and all that stuff. Well, and Western music is not about that stuff. It's really more about the outdoors and it's also about Western values, Western lifestyle, things like that.
Great, thank you for that. Joe, I know you gave me a definition, so I really do know. I'm hosting the show. I do know what the definition is.
Yeah.
But before you gave it to me, I don't know if I would characterize it. And Jim, thank you for that. But it's actually a combination also of European music and jazz and all that, because the Westerners that we have today came from over there.
Exactly. Very influenced by the Irish, the Scottish, the Germans, the Spanish, and all of those folks that came over and were part of the settling of the West. They brought their music with them, and then as they began to sing about and write about and enjoy their new environment, it took on what we know today. And it is, and right now, there are more people involved in writing Western music and performing it than at any time in history. Isn't that fascinating?
I'm not sure if I believe you.
Well,
That sounds amazing.
well, then I'm just going to have to take you to some meetings.
And I know your
Yeah.
group, the International
West-
Western Music Association, is wanting to preserve the old Western songs, plus encourage
The new.
composers of the new.
You
So I guess
nailed
I
it.
believe you, but it's hard to believe.
No, you did nail it. That is absolutely true. People that only know that I love history too. Well, if you don't know where you come from and preserve that, that's a bad thing. But you must acknowledge the new folks, the new ideas, the new ways, and allow something like music to flourish in the now, not just be part of the past.
In a minute, we're going to have you play a song, Jim Jones. But Joe, what do you love about Western music?
What I love is the stories, typically. A melody is wonderful, and I think the melody oftentimes is what captures the person listening to it to begin with. But the story is what keeps me coming back. Every Western song will typically have a story behind it.
Isn't
And
that
Jim's songs
interesting?
are no different than a lot of others, other than his are a little better, I think.
And then won
I'm
awards.
a fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, we're going to have you play a song, but thank you again for your definition. It's the Western lifestyle. It can be music from today. It's about the scenery. It's about the cattle, about the bison. It's what we see here. The sun, I bet the sun sets too.
Yes.
So it's different than the country music, which is again losing your heart, losing your truck, losing your woman, all those songs. But this is more about the Western way of life.
Yeah, that's
Which we lose our trucks and we lose our wives and we lose all that too.
Right.
But it's not, they're not always the sad songs. It seems to me like country songs tend to
Right.
be.
Right. Yep.
How long have you been writing? What kind of awards have you won? And
Do I have to answer the first part?
and how did you get involved in songwriting?
I've been writing songs probably almost 50 years. Well, actually over 50 years. I was in Austin, Texas when the universe just expanded there, and we had Michael Martin Murphey, and we had Guy Clark, and we had all these wonderful, wonderful Texas songwriters, and they were writing songs about the West and things that I'd never even dreamed about. And I thought, that's about the coolest thing I've ever seen. I want to do that. And that's how I got started in it. And
Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Fort Worth, Texas,
Okay.
and grew up in East Texas, in Beaumont, Texas, which is close to Houston.
Okay. So you heard that, you got involved, and you started writing, singing first and then writing, I imagine.
Really, both at the same time. My early songs were so bad that I repressed them. I
Okay.
couldn't do any of the early ones, and you're lucky.
So Jim, tell us how you come up, I mean, is it just stuff you see or stuff that moves you? How do you decide what's going to be the theme of a song?
Well, I mean, all of those things you just said are certainly a part of it. It's things that I think about. One of the things I do a lot, and it's something that they do it in Nashville a lot too, is write with other people. For example, there's a song that I wrote with a friend of mine, Deanna McCall, who is a poet and an author and just a brilliant wordsmith. And she came up with an idea that we then put together in a song. It's called Old Horses and Old Men. And what they have in common, and how they're you're over the hill, you're just really watching things from over the gate, but you want to be out there. And it's a song kind of honoring and lamenting
Yeah, lamenting.
the past as it changes, and it's just the natural progression of life, though. And so that's one. And I mean, I'm not old, but I know people who are, and so
Lamenting, looking over the fence. I feel it. So, I was outvoted, but still I'm producing this show. You're
Yes.
going to play 3 songs,
Yes, ma'am.
parts of 3 songs.
Parts of 3
But if they
songs.
want to hear the entire song, where can they hear more of your music? Jim
The
Jones?
best place to do that is at my website is www.jimjoneswestern.com. And I have music, and I'm an author too, so I have a bunch of books that are
Okay.
Western
So they can
novels.
hear the complete song on some of the songs.
I don't know, I don't listen to them.
Okay, but we can find
I've already heard them.
So what song are you going, part of the song you're going to play now, and tell us about the story, how you came up with it,
I will.
and I'm going to,
This is a historical song, and it's set in northern New Mexico. Northern New Mexico, up around Cimarron and Colfax County. And in the late 1800s, there was a group of crooked politicians who cared more about lining their own pockets than helping out their constituents. Thank God we're past all that. But and they were taking land from people and everything. And so I got the idea from reading up about, it's called the Santa Fe Ring, actually, and it's a big part of New Mexico history. And then I took that historical context and just made up a bunch of stuff. And
sure you made it up?
that's my story. I'm sticking to
Okay.
it. And so this is a song about cattle rustling and a young man coming of age and learning what path to take. And I'm going to do the last part of it. There's a book too, and this will sort of leave you wanting to read the book because you don't know how it ends. Actually, there's a lot of mystery in it. But he's confronting the bad guy, and under the light of the rustler's moon, which is a quarter moon, and that's you. Just if you're interested in rustling cattle, let me just give you a little tutorial real quick. You don't want to do it on a full moon because it's too bright and the posse can follow you. A new moon, there's no light and you'll ride into an arroyo, and that's not good. Rustler's moon, there's just enough light to see where you're going, but it's hard for them to track you. So now you know. Okay, so this is the end. The last time I saw him, he was standing on a hill, looking 10 times larger than life. Well, I can't erase the image. Guess I never will. After all the years, it cuts just like a knife. He said, "Howdy, cowboy, your pony sure can run. Well, I never thought I'd see you quite so soon. If you plan to catch me, I hope you brought your gun, and I hope that you can aim by the light of the moon. 'Cause we ride tonight by the light of the rustler's moon, shining through our souls. We live or die underneath the sky by the light of the rustler's moon, the rustler's moon."
Okay, play the whole thing.
That is my wife's favorite song that Jim has written. The whole story is amazing and such vibrant music. Great song, great song.
Yeah, but they're the bad guys, aren't they?
Well, there is a bad guy. The good guy is. It's really kind of like real life, where good guys aren't all good and bad guys aren't all bad. There's reasons, and try to cover all that, kind of the layers.
It's a great
Isn't
song.
that
Great song.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful melody, really vibrant, and really very moving, huh?
Thank you.
What a talented person.
No thanks.
Very. And I gotta give Joe the credit. I give him to discovering you for our show. Really appreciate that.
Hey, nothing but the best.
Now you're a songwriter and singer as well.
I'm a writer, I'm a singer, but I still haven't really written a song that I'm going to share with anybody yet. But I write novels and I write short stories, and that's the genesis of good songs often.
But you also were a member of the Red River Trio.
Yes, Red River West was a trio that my wife, my sister, and I formed while we still lived in California. and we performed out there frequently. I will have to say I am proud of one, well, more than this, but I'm very proud of one thing that happened. Right before my wife and I moved here in 2010, Paramount Studios had the 75th anniversary of Republic Pictures. And for those that are baby boomers especially, they know that Republic Pictures is where the Roy Rogers, the Gene Autry, and all those B-Westerns were filmed by that studio. And so for the 75th anniversary of Republic Pictures, they had a big weekend extravaganza at the studio, and Red River West was asked to be one of the performing groups that weekend, and that was fun. We made a memory.
Now listening to Jim, I bet you're feeling, oh, where's my guitar? Where's your guitar?
My guitar is home gathering dust right now because I'm heavy into my third novel, and that's where I'm spending my time.
Isn't that, there's just not enough time for Joe Brown with
Well,
all of your interests, Joe.
yeah,
It's
well,
amazing.
yeah.
Tell me more about your group and how people can participate. Now we have, of course, the COVID era, and you're having Zoom meetings.
Zoom meetings are happening right now. Actually, primarily the Zoom meetings are focused on making sure we showcase entertainers. So on the first and third Mondays of each month, they're at 7 p.m. on that Monday evening on Zoom. You can go to our Facebook page, if you will,
Which is
which is westernmusicnm.org.
International Western Music, or
The local one is just Western Music NM for New Mexico.com, and you'll pick up the Facebook page there, as well as a website. They'll both will
Okay.
come up. But anyway, and then people like Jim and others perform on Zoom for a couple of hours, and we do that to do two things: expose the public to the music and provide a vehicle that's not Jim. Jim helps us, and God, we're so lucky to have Jim. But there are other people that are very talented like Jim, but then there's others that we allow to be part of that are coming up and starting, and they need a place for encouragement. So that's so that's what we do with that Zoom meeting, if you will.
now when you be prior to Zoom, where would you meet? Would you meet different places, Jim?
We would. We would have monthly meetings generally, and that was the same location every month. And it was a business meeting, and then we would also have open mics at local venues.
Brew pubs.
Yeah, and do the same thing that we're doing on Zoom, except in person, which is much more fun. But and we feature. So we talk about up and coming people. I mean, we have some young people that are participating. Casey and Jenna Thunborg are twins from Limitar, New Mexico. Those girls are amazing, and they just keep getting better and better. It's kind of annoying, actually, how quickly they're getting better and better.
You know, it seems, other than this for up and coming, I know at churches, various people who love music, maybe their only outlet would be to perform at their local church. It seems people who I've known, I've been involved with musical groups that they like to perform, and it is at a church. But this is, you're opening this up to Western singers, writers,
Right.
and a venue for them to perform.
Right.
Fantastic.
Well, that's really the purpose of the chapters. Now, I've been on the what they call the national or international board of directors. I spent my term there, and then I came back to be the president here. I'd been the president before, and then I came back. I decided that my calling was not to be part of the national board, if you will, but to be working within the local community in the state. And the real place where the rubber meets the road for this kind of activity is at the state level. And our chapter here is one of the most active in the world for Western music.
And
I'm so proud of that.
And I bet I know a reason why that's the case. You have about 100 members.
Yes.
No?
100 to 140. That COVID is
Yeah.
affected that.
What's interesting is that when you told me the international Western, it's still Western United States music, Great American West, but you have members who are from Australia, Canada, England, Spain, Switzerland. These are just what, folks who love Western, American Western music?
Indonesia, we have
In Germany.
a fan in Germany, yeah.
That come.
Japan.
Now, those are part of the New Mexico organization, or the I mean, do
Well-
they chime into some of your meetings?
Well, we haven't had that happen yet, but I don't rule that out since we have become better at using the internet because of COVID.
Yeah, aren't we all?
So I'm not going to rule that won't happen because I see it happening in some other organizations I'm part of. But an anecdote, one of the first national conferences or festival that my wife and I went to, we were standing in line waiting to go into a ballroom to see some entertainment. And who was behind us? We kept hearing these people talking, but we couldn't quite understand them. They were from Switzerland. They were here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, because the national board has a national conference, festival, whatever you want to call it, every fall. Typically, COVID hit it this year and it wasn't here. But they'll be back this fall in November. And so my wife and I turned around and said, "Where are you guys from?" And I said, "I hope you speak English." And she said, "Oh yes, we speak English. People in Europe speak English." Well, I knew that from being my military days, but I hope they did. But anyway, Switzerland. And one of the things that I'm finding out over the years is our American West and the music is extremely popular in Europe and in Indonesia and Japan and places like that. As a matter of fact, there's people that sing karaoke in Tokyo, and one of the biggest things they do is sing Western and or country music.
Nowhere else in the world can you find a place like this.
Yeah.
You were born and raised in Texas. How long have you been in New Mexico, Jim?
Well, I guess they consider me a newcomer. I've been here since 1991, so that's 30 years. So, yeah.
And why? Why did you come to New Mexico?
I lived in Dallas for a long, long time. We got tired of the city life and wanted to get out where we're closer to the mountains. I love to ski. I love to fly fish
We got
and
it all
hike, and we got all that.
Tell us another song.
Okay, so I was thinking of different songs that would illustrate the range of Western music, because it's not just about cowboys. This is a song about the trains, and it's specifically about the train in Chama, the Cumbres Toltec. And the story is that there's a gambler, and he's gotten into a poker game in Santa Fe, and he finds out that he's in big trouble because they caught him cheating, and he doesn't have a horse, and the stage doesn't come for a couple of weeks. He's got to get out of town, so he hops on the train to Chama. I know the train doesn't run from Santa Fe to Chama, but it's a poetic license. So he gets on the train. Then, of course, he gets involved in a card game because he's a gambler, and he meets a lady, a mysterious lady, and he's winning, and there's a guy who gets madder and madder, and he's ready to pull his gun. So they shoot out the lights, and they hop off the train and make their getaway and decide to form a partnership. And this is called the Train to Chama. So what's already happened is he's gotten the heck out of Santa Fe, he's gotten on the train, started winning money. Now they got to get off the train, and so this is him and Miss Danger. Here we go. It's called Train to Chama. And I wrote it with my friend Gene Corbin. She hopped off with that train, we made off through the woods. We saw a cabin, she walked up to the door. She said with a grin, "It's my place, come on in." I said, "I think you've done this before." And she said, "Well, yes, but stranger, you're the best. Well, I wouldn't mind a partner in this game." She gave a little laugh, said, I don't mind sharing half if you don't mind sharing your name. And we hop on the train to Chama-Pooty Mama, and we ride up and down the line, playing poker all the way to Antonita, Colorado, and we're making money all the time. We're raking in the gold, let you shovel in the cold, and we head into the wind. We hop on the train to Chama-Pooty Mama, and we ride it back home again. We hop on the train to Chama-Pooty Mama, and we ride it back home again. Again.
What talent.
Yay, Jim.
Thank you. Biggest crowd I've seen in months.
Joe Brown, founder of the International Western Music Association here in this chapter here in New Mexico. Jim Jones, award-winning singer, songwriter. We just have a minute left, and guess what? We're going to close the show. I'm saying thank you for being here. Come back, and we're going to close the show with one more song. So,
This is a cowboy song. It's called Long May You Ride. Who's gonna pass along the stories? Tell all those old cowboy tales. How can you shine a light on the cowboy way of life if you've never even ridden a trail? Who's gonna hang on to their memories? Cherish all the legends of the West. When nobody needs your dying breed, we'll still remember the best. So long may you ride and hang on to your cowboy pride. We'll sing your glory, may the West never die. Long may you ride. Long may you ride. Long may you ride. Long may you ride. Long may you ride.
Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, which has proudly been serving the families in New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals and is the exclusive sponsor of Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater in order to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a DVD copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.